Chapter 1, Introduction to Critical Thinking. Have you ever wondered why some people navigate life's challenges with ease while others struggle with even simple decisions? The answer often lies in critical thinking. This transformative ability unlocks your full potential personally or professionally. But what is critical thinking, and why is it indispensable in today's fast-paced, information-rich world? Contrary to popular belief, critical thinking isn't about being argumentative or dismissive. It is a disciplined way of analyzing, evaluating, and synthesizing information to make sound judgments. It helps you step back from your immediate reactions, view situations objectively, and consider multiple perspectives. Many assume critical thinking as an innate talent, but that's a myth. Like a muscle, it can be developed and strengthened with practice. By doing so, you will be better equipped to solve complex problems, make informed decisions, and handle life's uncertainties with confidence. Beyond professional benefits, critical thinking enhances personal relationships by improving communication and empathy. It enables you to understand different perspectives, resolve conflicts, and make decisions aligned with your values. Professionally, it is a sought after skill across industries, setting leaders and innovators apart from those who merely follow instructions. As you embark on this journey, you will learn to challenge assumptions, confront biases, and approach problems with creativity and open-mindedness. This book provides practical tools, exercises, and insights to help you adopt a critical thinking mindset. This chapter closes with an invitation. Are you ready to challenge your assumptions, expand your perspectives, and unlock your potential? In the next chapter, we'll begin by exploring your thought patterns, the foundations for transforming your mindset. Chapter 2, Understanding Your Thought Patterns. Imagine your mind as a vast, unexplored territory filled with insights and creativity, but also pitfalls of bias and misconception. To navigate this landscape effectively, self-awareness is essential. Self-awareness allows you to observe your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors with objectivity. By recognizing patterns, identifying strengths and weaknesses, and understanding how your experiences shape your perceptions, you lay the foundation for critical thinking. One effective way to cultivate self-awareness is through mindfulness. Paying attention to your thoughts and feelings in the present without judgment. Regular mindfulness practices reveals recurring themes and emotional triggers. Another tool to reflect is reflective journaling. When you document your thoughts and reactions over time, these reveal habits and biases such as jumping to conclusions or catastrophizing minor setbacks. We all carry cognitive biases, which can distort our judgments. For instance, confirmation bias makes us seek evidence that supports our beliefs, while the availability of heuristic leads us to overestimate the likelihood of memorable events. Recognizing these biases is challenging but crucial for clear thinking. Seeking feedback from others can further uncover hidden biases. Honest input from trusted friends and colleagues or mentors provides perspective you might overlook. Though confronting biases and habits can be uncomfortable, this discomfort signifies growth. Embrace it as you develop mental flexibility, a cornerstone of critical thinking. By the end of this chapter, you'll have a clear understanding of your thought patterns. In the next chapter, we'll delve into principles of critical thinking and begin building your toolkit for tackling complex intellectual challenges. Chapter 3: The Fundamentals of Critical Thinking. Picture yourself as an explorer ready to navigate the uncharted wilderness of your mind. To do so, you need tools and skills. This chapter introduces two essential tools: logical reasoning and evidence-based thinking. Logical reasoning is the foundation of critical thinking. It involves the analysis of premises to draw sound conclusions. For instance, all cats are mammals. Fluffy is a cat. Therefore, Fluffy is a mammal. This is an example of deductive reasoning. You will learn to identify logical fallacies, such as ad hominem attacks, criticizing the person rather than the argument. False dichotomies, which means presenting only two options when there are others in existence. And slippery slopes, assuming one event will lead to a chain of events without even having evidence. Recognizing fallacies sharpens your reasoning and protects you from manipulation. However, logical reasoning alone isn't enough. Critical thinking demands a commitment to evidence-based thinking. That is, basing conclusions on verified facts and credible data rather than emotional anecdotes. Captivating this mindset requires curiosity, open-mindedness, and intellectual humility. These traits encourage questioning assumptions, exploring diverse perspectives, and embracing lifelong learning. Developing critical thinking mindset isn't easy. It challenges you to leave your comfort zone, confront biases, and admit to mistakes. But the rewards are immense. They include informed decisions, meaningful engagement with diverse ideas, and effective problem solving. As we conclude this chapter, you will have gained a solid grasp of our critical thinking principles. Next, we are going to address one of the greatest challenges of critical thinking, that is cognitive bias, their impact and strategies to overcome them. Chapter 4: Overcoming Cognitive Biases. Picture yourself playing chess, confident in your strategy, only to realize that half of your pieces were invisible. This scenario mirrors the hidden impact of cognitive biases, unseen forces shaping our decisions and judgments. Cognitive biases are systematic errors in thinking, not signs of low intelligence, but shortcuts our brain use to simplify complex information. While useful in routine situations, these shortcuts can mislead us when critical thinking is required. What are some of the common biases? Number 1, confirmation bias, favoring information that supports our pre-existing beliefs while dismissing contrary evidence. Number 2, anchoring effect, that is relying too heavily on initial information when making decisions. Number 3, availability heuristic, overestimating the likelihood of memorable or recent events. Countering biases. Number 1, seeking information that challenges our beliefs. Number 2, practicing mental flexibility by exploring alternative explanations. Number 3, consult diverse perspectives to uncover blind spots. Then finally, cultivate intellectual humility, recognizing the limits of your knowledge. Let me tell you a little story about Maya. Maya scrolled through her favorite social media app late into the night. Her feed was a comforting mirror filled with posts that echoed her opinions about health and wellness. Lately, she'd been passionate about a new diet trend, one that promised miraculous results. Every swipe reaffirmed her belief. Influencers praised it, articles highlighted its benefits, and testimonials showcased dramatic transformations. One evening, Maya's friend called Leo, a nutritionist, sent her a link to a study debunking that diet. She said, "You should read this," as he wrote that sentence. Maya glanced at the title, "The Risk of Fad Diet." She frowned, her thumb hesitating over the link. She didn't want to spoil the clarity of her conviction. Instead of reading it, she clicked onto the next post in her feed, a glowing review of the diet by a popular wellness guru. See? She thought, a sense of validation washing over her. She left a supportive comment and moved on, unsettling link from Leo quickly forgotten. As days passed, Maya noticed her energy waning and her mood soaring. When she mentioned it in a post, a few followers suggested she considers the diet. Maya brushed off, convinced they didn't understand the benefits. One night, Leo called Maya. "I'm worried about you," he said gently. "You've surrounded yourself with content that only supports your belief. It is called the confirmation bias. It is like living in an echo chamber." Maya resisted at first, but decided to humor him. She read the study, then sought out balanced perspectives. For the first time, she noticed her feed's algorithmic bubble. She began following nutritionists with differing viewpoints and learned to question the information before she consumed. Maya didn't abandon her diet. Immediately, she approached it with a newfound skepticism. Her mind opened to alternative truths beyond the comforting echoes of her feed. Now that you've learned about cognitive bias, the next item will be how to solve problems. That is, problem solving techniques. Chapter 5, Effective Problem Solving. Imagine a giant tangled knot, a metaphor for life's complex problems. At first glance, it might seem impossible to untangle, but with the right techniques, even the most intricate challenges can be unraveled. Effective problem solving is a skill that not only resolves immediate issues, but also builds resilience and adaptability for future challenges. Have you ever faced a problem so overwhelming that you didn't know where to start? How did you approach it? And what might you do differently next time? Steps for problem solving. Number 1, define the problem. Start by clearly identifying the issue. Break it into smaller, manageable parts to avoid feeling overwhelmed. For instance, if you are facing a financial crisis, isolate components such as income, expenses, and debt. Number 2, gather information. Dive deep into understanding the problem. Ask questions, seek data, and listen to others involved. Through comprehension thorough comprehension prevents misguided solutions. Imagine a doctor diagnosing a patient. Acting without information could be disastrous. Generate solutions. That is number 3. Brainstorm freely without fear of judgment. Encourage creativity by listening even to unconventional ideas. For example, if a project deadline is looming, consider alternative workflows or resources. Evaluate options. That is number 4. Analyze the pros and cons, feasibility, and potential outcomes of each solution. A structured evaluation matrix can help you prioritize effectively. Number 5. Implement and monitor. Execute the chosen plan while staying adaptable to unexpected changes. Regularly assess progress and be ready to pivot if necessary. Let me tell you the story of Maria. Maria sat on her worn-out couch in her small apartment, her toddler Emma playing with the stuffed rabbit on the floor. At the age of 25, Maria had faced more challenges than she thought possible. Unemployed and with bills piling up, she felt the weight of the world pressing on her shoulders. Yet she was determined to find the way forward for Emma's sake. That morning, while searching for a job online, Maria stumbled across a video about upcycling old furniture. The idea sparked a memory of a discarded bookshelf that she had seen near the dump site a week ago. She glanced at Emma, who was now asleep in her crib, and decided to act. Maria retrieved the bookshelf, its wood scratched and paint peeling. She spent the little money she had on a sandpaper, paint, and a brush, while Emma napped or played nearby. Maria worked on the piece, her hands steady despite her racing thoughts. She sanded the wood, applied layers of paint, and added a touch of artistry with floral stencils. In 2 days, the old bookshelf had transformed into a vibrant, eye-catching piece. And sure of its value, Maria posted pictures on the local online marketplace. To her surprise, offers began pouring in. One buyer, a boutique owner, purchased it for $150 and asked if Maria could create more unique pieces for her store. Encouraged, Maria started scouting for more discarded furniture. She joined community groups on social media, asking for unwanted items. Neighbors, impressed by her work, began donating pieces. She developed a system. Mornings were for gathering and prepping furniture, afternoons for painting, and evenings for selling and marketing online. Word spread about Maria's upcycled art. A local journalist featured her in an article about sustainable living. Orders started increasing, and Maria soon had a waiting list. Despite her growing success, Maria stayed grounded. She set aside a portion of her earnings for Emma's future and began attending business workshops at a nearby community center. She even started mentoring other single mothers, teaching them how to upcycle and sell items. Months later, Maria stood her own small workshop, Emma toddling around with her rabbit. What had started as a desperate attempt to solve a problem had blossomed into a thriving business. Maria smiled, knowing she had turned her challenges into opportunities, one brushstroke at a time. So, just a pro tip: when stuck trying to reframe the problem. Stepping back or viewing it from a different angle can reveal new paths forward. Remember, problem solving is iterative. Each attempt refines your approach and strengthens your critical thinking. Now, with a solid foundation in problem solving, let us now delve deeper into the art of analyzing the information and arguments that guide our decisions. That is in the next chapter. Chapter 6: Analyzing Information and Arguments. Imagine yourself as a detective standing before a web of claims, evidence, and conclusions. Your task is to untangle this web and uncover the truth. This skill, analyzing arguments, is central to critical thinking and informed decision making. Engage your thinking. When you hear a persuasive argument, do you accept it at face value or dig deeper? What clues do you look for to determine its validity? Let us now look at the elements of an argument. Claims. These are assertions about truth or actions, such as climate change is caused by human activities. Premises. Supporting reasons or evidence for the claim, like scientific data or expert testimony. Conclusion. The main point of the argument seeks to prove, often derived logically from the premises. Evaluating arguments. Assess the relevance, reliability, and sufficiency of evidence. For example, is the data from a credible source? Number 2, recognize patterns of reasoning, distinguishing valid logic from fallacies such as slippery slopes or false correlations. A common fallacy might be, an example, if you allow one exception, chaos will ensue. Thirdly, uncover hidden assumptions. For instance, does the argument assume facts not in evidence? Challenge these assumptions critically. Now, let me tell you a nice story about Emily and Jack. Now, in the heart of Chicago, in a cozy corner cafe, Emily and Jack sat across from each other, nursing their cold cups of coffee. Their relationship had been rocky lately, with constant disagreements about the future. Jack, ever the dreamer, wanted to move abroad for a year, an adventure that seemed to fuel his sense of excitement. Emily, on the other hand, had a steady job and a strong family ties, and she wasn't ready to leave everything behind. You don't understand, Jack said, frustration creeping into his voice. This opportunity could change everything for me. I've spent my whole life playing it safe. This is my chance to live. Emily paused, studying him. She knew his argument was built on the desire for freedom, but was it the best choice for the relationship? After all, love required stability, didn't it? She took a deep breath, then calmly replied, I get it, Jack, but you are only seeing your dream. You are not evaluating what it might cost us. We've built something here together. If you leave now, what does that say about us? Jack's face softened, but he quickly countered. But if I stay, I'll resent myself forever. Isn't that worth considering too? Emily leaned back, letting his words sink in. She realized that both arguments had merit. He his desire for growth and her need for commitment. But the real question wasn't about choosing one over the other. It was about finding a way to merge both dreams. Her response was measured, thoughtful. We don't have to choose extremes. What if we find a way to make this work without sacrificing the needs we both care about? Jack looked at her, his eyes scanning her face for signs of hesitation. Slowly he smiled. I hadn't thought of it like that. In that moment, Emily realized that critical thinking wasn't just about picking part of arguments. It was about understanding both sides, seeking a resolution or solution that made room for both perspectives, and ultimately for the love of both they both cherished. What do we learn from this story? Critical thinking involves understanding and weighing both sides of an argument, rather than just jumping into conclusion based on initial emotions or desires. Emily and Jack each had valid points, and neither was entirely wrong. Critical thinking is also about beyond looking beyond extremes. Instead of choosing between two opposing views, example Jack's dreams of adventure and Emily's need for stability, critical thinking encourages finding a balanced solution that incorporates elements from both perspectives. Critical thinking is also about considering the long-term impact. Decisions in relationships should be made with consideration of both short-term desires and long-term consequences. Jack's dreams of living might have come at a cost of their relationship, but Emily's concern for stability was also a valid part of their future together. Critical thinking is also about seeking mutual solutions. Critical thinking in relationship isn't about arguing or defending one's position, but about collaborative problem solving. Emily suggested a way that both their dreams could coexist, and this demonstrated that a compromise doesn't mean sacrificing one's passions. Practice exercise. Find a recent news article or opinion piece. Identify its claims, premises, and conclusion. Then evaluate its logic and evidence. What would strengthen or weaken the argument? Now you are equipped with the analytical tools. We can now move to an essential aspect of critical thinking, which is engaging with diverse perspectives. Chapter 7: Engaging with diverse perspectives. Visualize a room with walls painted in varying colors, each representing a unique viewpoint. Walking through this room, you begin to see the richness and depth of diverse perspectives. Engaging with these views enriches understanding and deepens critical thinking. So, how does this engage your thinking? How often do you seek out perspectives different from your own? What have you learned from those experiences? Why it matters? Embracing diverse views challenges assumptions and broadens knowledge and fosters more nuanced solutions. For instance, tackling a community issue may benefit from insights across cultural, economic, and generation lines. Here are some strategies for engagement. Number one, expose yourself to differing viewpoints. Read books, watch videos, or attend talks from varied disciplines and backgrounds. A scientist might learn valuable lessons from an artist's perspective. Number 2, practice active listening. When conversing, truly hear others' reasoning and experiences without formulating a counter argument in your mind. This builds trust and understanding. Number 3, build empathy. Strive to appreciate the values and assumptions behind opposing viewpoints. Empathy fosters constructive dialogue instead of divisive debates. Number 4, use still manning. Instead of dismissing contrary arguments, articulate them in their strongest form. This not only shows respect but also sharpens your own reasoning. Play the devil's advocate. Challenge your beliefs by arguing the opposite side. This exercise can reveal weaknesses in your own reasoning. A pro tip: engaging with diverse perspectives doesn't mean abandoning your values. Instead, it refines your understanding, equipping you to make thoughtful and well-reasoned decisions. Now that we have explored problem solving, analysis, and diverse perspectives, let's weave these skills together for mastering critical thinking in real world scenarios. Chapter 8: Decision Making Strategies for Success. How do you currently approach difficult decisions? Imagine this: you find yourself at a crossroads with countless paths stretching into a mystery unknown. Each path represents a decision, and the uncertainty of the future makes the choice daunting. How do you decide which way to go? What strategies can you use to make wise decisions in the face of incomplete information? Effective decision making is not a single choice made in a moment, but a process that unfolds over time. It begins with clearly defining the decision at hand and gathering relevant information. Surprisingly, many poor decisions stem from failing to properly frame the problem or collect enough data. Start by ensuring you fully understand the scope of the decisions and have as much relevant information as possible. Once you've gathered your information, the next step is to identify and evaluate your options. This is where critical thinking becomes essential. Consider the short-term and long-term outcomes of each option. What are the risks and benefits? Do your options align with your goals and values? Don't limit yourself to the obvious choices. Think creatively about alternatives that may not be immediately apparent. A helpful tool for this process is the decision matrix, where you list your options and criteria. Then score each option against those criteria. This structured approach can help you objectively compare complex choices and identify one that best fits your needs. Balance logic with intuition as you evaluate your options. Facts and data provide a solid foundation, but your gut feelings, often based on subconscious pattern recognition, can also offer valuable insight. A balanced approach that incorporates both logic and intuition can lead to better outcomes. Uncertainty is inevitable in many decisions. One way to manage it is through scenario planning. Envisioning different possible futures and considering how your decision might play out in each. This will help identify hidden risks and opportunities. Be mindful of common decision-making pitfalls. Analysis paralysis can occur when you overanalyze and delay making a decision. Remember, A timely choice is often better than a perfect one. Groupthink is another trap, where the desire for harmony stifles dissenting views. Combat this by encouraging diverse opinions and appointing a devil's advocate to challenge assumptions. When you feel stuck or overwhelmed, try techniques like the 5 whys, asking why repeatedly to find the root cause, or the Eisenhower matrix, prioritizing tasks based on urgency and importance. Sometimes reframing the problem can lead to fresh insights. Ultimately, decision making isn't about eliminating all risks, but making informed choices that align with your values and goals. Embrace uncertainty as part of the process and stay ready to adapt to new information as new information emerges. What are the strategies from this chapter that you have learned that you can apply to your next major decision? How might reframing a problem help you see the new solutions? Now that we've learned how to be practical in making decisions, we are now going to focus on how to develop mental resilience. Chapter 9: Building Mental Resilience. How do you typically respond to setbacks and challenges? Picture this as a mighty oak tree standing firm amid a raging storm. The winds howl and the rains pour, but your deep roots keep you grounded, and your sturdy trunk refuses to break. This is the essence of mental resilience, the ability to endure challenges, adapt to adversity, and emerge stronger. Resilience isn't about suppressing emotions or toughing it out. Instead, it is a dynamic process of adapting well to adversity, trauma, and significant stress. It allows you to bounce back from setbacks, learn from failures, and thrive under pressure. The foundation of resilience lies in understanding and managing your emotions. Emotional intelligence, the ability to recognize, understand, and regulate your emotions, is key. This doesn't mean ignoring your feelings, but rather responding to challenges with clarity and purpose instead of impulsivity and reacting. One effective way to build emotional intelligence is through mindfulness meditation. By focusing on the present moment without judgment, mindfulness enhances self awareness, reduces stress, and improves emotional regulation. Another critical component of resilience is cultivating a growth mindset, a concept popularized by psychologist Carol Dweck. A growth mindset is the belief that abilities and intelligence can be developed through effort and learning. With this mindset, challenges become opportunities for growth, and failures are viewed as valuable learning experiences rather than personal shortcomings. Resilience also involves building supportive relationships, maintaining a sense of purpose, and practicing self care. Surround yourself with people who uplift you. Set meaningful goals and prioritize your physical and mental health. When faced with setbacks, techniques like journaling, seeking perspective, or breaking challenges into smaller manageable steps can help. Remember, resilience isn't about avoiding difficulties but thriving despite them. A reflection question: what steps can you take to cultivate a growth mindset? How might mindfulness improve your ability to handle stress and adversity?